Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
And a big old howdy to you, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. It is the Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 studios. Anybody needs some paper towels? I'm your guy, Costa, Barry Godwin, Greg Totter, Robin Sully.
Hey, what is the chili brand that you're wearing?
Dinty Moore.
Dinty Moore.
Oh, Dinty Moore.
By the way, Dinty is a sexy name. Dinty.
Dinty, I'll take it.
Hey,
I'll
Dinty,
take it.
Call me. Hey, Dinty.
There's a great Dinty Moore T-shirt says, how about a stewski? And it's a hand. It's a hand of
and in parentheses it says, if you know what I mean. You realize this? If you add, if you know what I mean, to any sentence.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mike, let's go get some Fritos after the show. If
you know what I
That's a
mean.
very 80s thing to say.
like-
We said it in high school.
Do you like Frito pie, Mary? If you know what I mean. See, I said, do you like chili rellenos? If you know what I mean. One time I was in a relationship.
He's the only one laughing.
One time Mike's been drinking and eating chili.
It's the way it was the.
One time I was in a relationship and I just finally said, why don't you just say after everything you say to me, you stupid. Hey, can you get the door? You stupid. Hey, where's the car keys? You stupid.
Because it's just their look just infers.
That's
stupid.
the
And
internal.
the tone.
Well,
Totally.
There's the tone
Yeah.
and the look.
Well, his name was Kevin. I
was going to say.
I wrote a song called Stairway to Kevin, and he said, hey, nice song, you stupid. Hey, Big Biz Show. Can I ask you, are we in the...
Got a snort.
By the way, Mary owns the whole company now, by the way.
I'm the only female in here,
we're-
except for Christy in the control room.
There's a Christmas present there for you behind the bar that was left. No,
That's
okay.
my sippy cup.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. Hey, bro, be cool.
My favorite thing to say to McKeon and Delaney was, that's nice, honey. Get Daddy another martini.
Okay.
We got to drive to school in a minute.
Our good buddy Matt Williams with his new company Discomfort was in studio.
Discomfort?
Yeah, it's
DSCMFRT. Discomfort is the name of the company.
Discomfort?
Yeah.
They don't do
If you know what I mean.
If I know. And his business is the customization of kicks as great marketing tools and conversation starters.
Well, Mike, for you, I always thought of you as a great marketing tool.
I am a tool, 100%.
Can I tell you, so I was detained at the border. I couldn't be at that show that you guys did.
Right.
But,
wow.
What is this?
Look at those.
Oh, yeah, you weren't here either.
Look at those.
oh, Big Bizzle.
What?
Dizzle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at the back, too. Look at the back.
Got your name on them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sully, it says Sully Dirt Bag.
Nobody can steal
Okay,
those.
first of all, are you aware of the sneaker thing? Are your girls, high schoolers,
Oh, they have so many sneakers.
but you know the sneaker thing, like like the stores?
Yeah.
Okay, like remember, I think the only thing we can relate to was when there were swatches in 1981.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
But there's, these can go for like $5K
Yeah.
Easily.
20 years from now.
Well, you buy literally like a white tennis shoe. You buy that brand of white Nike, and then his people, they doctor it up, and it becomes a work of art any way you want, and then you can either
Any
gift
logo, anything. Yeah.
anything.
Can I say, it's just,
Yeah.
can I, because I got game.
You do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you know what I mean.
Because my favorite color is desperation and needy. I smell like apathy. Can I put, like, if I was like, is there any circumstance I could wear these?
I mean, yes, not out on a date, though. Are you talking about, like, on a date?
I'm just saying, like, me and Mike rolling the shelter.
Yes.
Me and Mike rolling the shelter. We're getting Moray, the John Wayne saddle. I got these shoes.
Exactly.
If you are trying to...
Just don't you think? No, these are great. By the way, I hang around with you guys, but I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
Do you think that would you?
I think depending on where you're going, you can absolutely wear those. But
You know-
not to pick up...
No.
Depending where you're going. What you mean by that?
You know what would even look better is a pair of Sullivan kicks.
Yeah, Sullivan kicks.
Sullivan does kick.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah.
These are fantastic.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, very good.
That's from Matt Williams, our good buddy at Discomfort. Super cool.
Big Biz Show, BigBizShow.com. Hey, man. I got so many things to say. See you in a minute. How does
We are live in the Loft 100 studios. Big Biz Show rolling on as we get ever closer to the big day on December 25th.
Boss Jockey puking. Hey, everybody, we're rolling out here. And we're back.
8:05, 5 after 8, 55 minutes before 9 on a wacky Thursday.
You know, here's the thing. Not to put a finer point, these are fantastic. First of all, I like stout shoes like this. I feel like, I could walk on them.
Yeah.
But our logo is Big Biz Show, as you can see. Maybe you guys can put up on the screen. I'm not sure if the people watching actually know the name of the show. It's Big Biz Show. But how they did this here with the Nike swoop, it looks like B-O-O-Z here. So it's just basically this booze.
Oh, I like it. Oh, I didn't think about that, but I like it. I like it even better
Booze
now.
and shoot.
Okay, listen. Do we have Howie here? Is Howie our analyst here? Because
There he is.
Mary, I have to talk to you about this.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh,
What?
busted.
Yeah, step in my office.
Why am I the one that's in
Isn't
trouble
it interesting?
here?
I could be giving you a raise. Can I tell you, could I talk you out of sending your daughters to college? In terms, because the cost of college now is to the point where, is there a return on investment? Because on the average, 2 years ago, you made an extra $1 million over your career, which means you spent an extra $400,000 in taxes. It's an extra $600K versus and I know it's hard to freaking.
Well,
you're right in the crosshairs.
I still think, though, that employers are looking for that college degree.
I think she's right because I think we're still. It takes a long time to switch the mentality thing to go from right because
I think the answer is the economist's default, which is it depends. I mean, Mary, in your case, your girls seem so focused on dance, and I don't want to tell them not to have any kind of backup, but it's. Can
you imagine when my daughter told me she was an art major? Great.
It is worth having a talk about the cost. I mean,
Howie, what are we talking about? So back in 1975, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I was in college in 1980. I think it cost maybe $3,000 to go to a private school, USC, and it cost $750 to go to San Diego State because I got booted from the private school. But Howie, the problem I have with this, and I'm going to let you say the number, but if you think about, let's say it cost $4,000 to go to college in 1975, and now what it costs now, let's just say in a minute, has the quality of education changed a bit? It's the same thing. We're learning the same thing, okay? Howie, what's the cost right now?
I mean, hard sciences have not changed. I mean, physics is not going to change, but no, I mean, quality.
But what's the number? What is the number?
Sure. So for a 4-year public school education, 1975, you were doing that for $2,600 a year.
Okay.
Tuition.
Wow.
A
4-year private school in 1979 was still more expensive. It was let's see, $14,000 in 1975. That's not chump change by any means, but guess what it is now?
I got to say 50 grand, 40 grand, 30 grand, something like that.
60.
Wait, Mary, what is it?
I mean, all in, it's close to 90.
Is that for all 4 years?
I'm just talking tuition. Of course, there's room and board and books.
Per year.
And this is a public school,
all
right?
in for room and board and books.
90.
It's 90 for some of the schools that.
For the private schools. The public schools, I'm going to say 45.
UC schools are about 45.
I'll say $40,000 for like a Cal State San Marcos.
That's a little bit. It's a little bit less for Cal State, but UCs are about 46.
But they just crush you
Howie,
on
what
the
is it?
room
What's the
and
number?
board.
Yeah, so on average, across the country, the average private 4-year college, 2021, $41,000 annually.
So you're telling
just
me it's
tuition, not room and board.
$170,000 for a 4-year education? $170. So let's talk about this. You make an average of $1 million more, net out to $600,000 minus the $170. I mean, I just feel that.
Yeah, people make the most money in the back end of their careers where it's been most inflated. So, I mean.
But the thing is have we improved
the
way
trade
we
is not very good unless you have a very specific path. Sorry,
but my problem with this is, first of all, these colleges have so much money, they don't have to charge more. Number two, Western Civ in 1978 is the same Western Civ as today.
Well, like you said about physics. Physics ain't changing.
Well, ours is.
Well, that's more geometry.
But so
Area of a sphere.
Howie, if people open up a 529 plan, which by the way is a retirement plan that you should open when your kids are very young because it's tax free and it sort of put college away. But man, I remember saving, I think for my girls, I think I saved $100,000 per girl and now it's almost twice that. It's 170. Howie, what's the answer? I mean, because I think it begs to ask the question: do you send her to high school with ashtrays, which is junior college, for 2 years, and then switch over because you could save half of that, right?
Well, I wanted to cover this because one for Mary, but everyone in Mary's situation. We've talked a lot about the stigma attached to not going or going to 2-year school and then finishing at a 4-year institution, and I wanted just to show this is actually having an effect. Enrollment is falling while applications are up. That's not a good sign. These schools cannot get away with just inflating costs forever, hiring more and more administrators and putting it on the backs of students. They won't stand for
But
it.
that's
in
a
the long
rhetorical
term,
argument because they
marketplaces
still
gonna-
are. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
how do you change that? Because I mean, if you look at the regents of Harvard.
No, it's happening, is what I'm saying. I mean, that's what this report, we're talking about some information from the College Board, the same institution that runs the Common App.
Hey, Mary, what?
I'm on their website like once a week at least.
First of all, Greg, are you like, you got what, 10, 15 years, probably 10 years or so? Are you thinking in terms of that, like, he'll be a painter?
You know what I think? No, I think I'm going to reverse engineer it. I think I'm going to try to put him on the spot, and I'm talking about my son, obviously, but my daughter too, and say, okay, what do you think you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you think you want to do? That's the hardest question. That's the $1,000,000 question. Right. I think you got to wait until high school, right?
I don't know. He's pretty
At
sharp.
least.
Emma's pretty
But
sharp.
then
Your
you
kid-
say,
Bam Bam's pretty sharp, too.
okay, so what do you think you want to do? And then you reverse engineer it and you say, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, what's more important, experience or college education?
That is
and then you go from there.
That is such a great point.
Right? Because in a lot of cases, experience is far more important.
Well, and if Emma comes back,
and you can always get your degree as you're working.
if Emma comes back to you and
Right?
says, "Dad,
So-
I want to win an equestrian gold medal,"
Which she will, by the way.
probably, then
I'm her agent. I got 15%.
all some schools will have that. Most likely, you go, "There's your horse, there's your ring, go practice."
Yeah, there's that too. And then there's also, a lot of people say that you need that period of time to kind of grow into being an adult, number one. But then number two,
So well said.
in my opinion, what's just as valuable as the education is the people you meet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
You're right.
you create a network when you're
Yes.
in college that
100%.
truly you can't create anywhere else.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. So I'm lucky to have 2 daughters that came through the tube of adolescence and they became people after that. And one of my daughters is an MD. She's a doctor of physical therapy. And she got the opportunity to travel for 3 months at a time, live in a different city. And she said to me the other day, "Hey, Dad, if you were my age," she's 29, "would you go to Hawaii for 3 months?" Yes, get bad credit. Go dance a pole, lose your license. If you're going to make a mistake, it happens at that point, right? Because I said, "Honey, you got 50 good summers left. I got 20 if I'm lucky, and then the Alpo years come, and then me and Mike are living in an apartment in Mira Mesa." But the problem is, but Mary, you're right there. You're at the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
So one side says, let's take the safe route. Let's go to college. Let's pay the $41,000 and fill in the gaps with whatever grants and
I mean,
stuff.
I will say that a lot of the institutions that we're looking at, the private schools, give a lot in scholarship money.
Yes.
They will do a lot in scholarship. Even
Endowments.
the public one school, we already got she already got awarded some scholarship money every year for 4 years at a school at U of A. So we already know
Guess
that.
what? You're going to take a Parent Plus loan for about $100K, and now you're on also.
No, I mean, we have some savings, and then hopefully with the offset of whatever scholarship.
And the
we get.
administration, right, Mary? Economy's going to be better?
Right. But there's work-study programs. My daughter already knows there's going to be work-study programs. There's ways to make it work, and I do think, to your point, the 4-year institution is invaluable. The friends.
Right
that
now
I
it
made,
is. I got to
that
believe
made.
that. Howie, I mean, Howie.
The growth, yeah.
She brings up a good point, Howie, because there is a sort of I went 2 years for junior college and I spent a cup of coffee at USC, right? When you're at a job interview. I mean, there's something about the way is it ever going to change where it's like?
No, I mean, listen, I think the 2-year and then the step up is a really strong move. I mean, you've got to value the money at some point. I completely hear Greg on the network, but, these colleges are also not magic. You can do this work, and it facilitates a lot of growth, and that's why we have them in the first place. But my point is, not at any cost.
Me and Mike's favorite memories were at the Truckmaster School of Trucking that we met at.
Wally Thor,
Yeah,
God bless him.
And Marshall Brodine's Magic School.
Oh, that
we went
one
to both
too.
those things. You guys fairly have really, really extraordinary kids. You do. I mean, Bam Bam's gonna be a pro surfer or linebacker, and Emma is going to be a gold medal, whatever she wants. Your kids are bound for entertainment. I mean, you've got kids that are dancing at the level of Paula Abdul. Higher. I mean, I'm not kidding. Did you ever contemplate when they were like 8? You were there. That okay, look, I got to depend on how talented my kids are. I mean, that's a rough. I mean, hope is not a strategy.
No.
Well, I mean, part of the thing, I mean, dance is very expensive. So part of my thinking is that was an investment.
But the talent I'm talking about that your kids have, it's like, what about the kids that, you know, like, remember William Hung? She bang.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what about him? Like, his parents are like, you're going to pay the whole full boat.
Pretty much.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I don't know.
Howie, thanks for the great news. I feel like crap.
Yeah, thanks for depressing me.
We'll see you in a minute. Thanks, buddy.
It's Father Christmas.
$4,000 average between 1975 and 1985. $41,540. 10 times more. But you know, would you have more fun in your life than college?
In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. As always, to our brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, thank you for what you do for us. Loft 100 Studios, it's the Big Biz Show. Hope everyone's having a good day. Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, our executive producer, Greg Todorov, Sully.
Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Have you guys? Are you done with your Christmas shopping? You were done in February, weren't you?
Oh yeah. No, I was done like Thanksgiving weekend.
Do you know what's funny is that the older you get, the less presents you have to buy. It's kind of good. You have more money and less obligation.
Totally.
And you know, and if you're in the dating scene, you know, I plant the seeds of resentment right before Christmas, make up right before New Year's, then say that you're going to wear that. So then after New Year's,
Genius.
and then on February 15th, I'm back in.
That's right.
Are you guys still doing Christmas presents, like big Christmas morning stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, Christmas is a huge thing in our house. I love it. We have traditions, and my ex-husband and his wife, they come over, and their baby comes over, and we all have Christmas morning.
Whoa. Your ex-husband and their baby.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
I did.
Your ex-husband and their baby.
They do.
Record
Yeah.
scratch.
We have a family. We have
Mary's wandering around the house with it.
No, it's great. We actually have a really, really good
Because
time.
he screwed up at this age and had a baby? Is that,
You know,
I mean, that's on him.
Is that somehow satisfying?
Oh God, yeah.
I respect that so much because there's so many parents who unfortunately divorce that, but you two,
We get along.
for
Yeah.
your kids,
Yep.
it's pretty awesome.
Big Christmas with big college. I feel bad because my kids won't come over because of, you know, I'm dating Cinnamon and they don't want to.
Right, yeah.
And I got her some new acrylic heels. I got some new acrylic heels for Christmas. Hey, one of our favorite things to do in this program, in 125 million TV homes across the country, plus, of course, Bloomberg, El Financiero, and, of course, American Forces Network, like Mike said, is when we get shareholders calling Greg and say, you got to feature this company.
Right.
So this company is what? It's Immunic. Am I saying it right? Immunic Therapeutics?
IMUX
There we go.
is the ticker.
So we got Dr. Daniel Vitt here, the CEO. That's how important we are. And we get a chance to talk to an actual CEO of a public company. They are publicly traded. I'm sorry?
PhD.
Yeah, doctor. I said doctor.
Yeah.
I am. MOUSE. IMUX is the symbol. Dr. Vitt, great to have you on the program. How are you? You didn't know what you're getting into, did you?
Hi, good morning. Happy to be here.
Great to see you. Hey, can you talk to us? So JP Morgan, the biotechnology in the biopharma space the last 2 years has been beaten down, and this is a technical term, like a redheaded stepchild. And JP Morgan Chase came in January and said, this is going to be the year, but you're not going to be able to raise money for the first quarter. Suddenly, second quarter this year, biopharma firms were able to raise money, but suddenly the faucet got shut off, and now you guys are in this interesting dilemma where there's all these great biopharma companies that are going to change the world, but for some reason, it's been a difficult 3 years. Where are we? What's the landscape look like right now?
Well, and maybe first talking about where we are, I think we were able to raise some money beginning of the year, and we have a program. We have a program in clinical phase 3, so in registration studies. So we see the finish line. Therefore, I think we're doing quite well. But of course, drying out by capital in the whole environment is of course a challenge to the whole industry. But on the other hand, our friends at Big Pharma, they need new innovations and new stuff, and therefore I'm very optimistic, specifically looking for the next year, 2025.
Talk about Immunic Therapeutics. What are you guys trying to take on here? And I know you guys looking at the FDA sort of arc of that story. It looks like you're at the finish line. Talk about what you guys are working on.
Yeah, we have our most advanced program is, as I said in the registration slide, called Vitt of Calcium. It's a new medicine which is aiming to really change the way we treat multiple sclerosis. And our approach is with a new mode of action. And in contrast to historic medicines used, they are mainly targeting so-called relapses, specifically in relapsing forms of MS. Our drug also is believed to have neuroprotective effects. So more or less really focusing on the key unmet need of patients with MS, which are aiming to really prolong as possible, as good as possible, the time of independence of life.
You know, Daniel, it's interesting because one of the reasons we have you on is my eldest daughter has MS, and so does my mother. And it is quite different. You know, my mother, you know, the symptoms have gone to the point where she's got a lazy leg, but she takes a daily dose of medicine. My daughter goes in for infusions twice a year. Does this change the quality of life for MS patients, or does it just work better? Talk about the differences between you and what's currently there.
Yeah, I think there are different ways to treat it right now. Each drug or each medicine has a benefit or a disadvantage. I think the infusions twice a year, it's good for some time. The problem is these are B-cell depleting therapies, which mean they really, on the long run, lower the immune system. And what we are developing is a drug which, on top of really stopping or slowing down the relapses, we want to stop the progression. And that's something which really goes beyond what current therapies are offering to patients. So it's really a benefit because if you're young and you are diagnosed with MS, you want to stay as long as possible in your independent life, and therefore we need therapies like the candidate we are developing, which are aiming to really stop progression or slow down progression.
Dr. Daniel Vitt, the CEO of Immunic Therapeutics. Their ticker symbol is IMUX, with us here on the Big Biz Show.
By the way, imux.com is their website.
IMUX.com. Dr. Vitt, does MS normally present itself early in a person's life, or is there any spectrum people can get it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it usually affects mainly women at usually young age, so in the second or third decade of life. It's somehow related to infections with Epstein-Barr virus earlier, so it's a little bit unfortunate situation. So it affects patients for quite a long time during their lives.
Hey, talk about your top line drugs. So Jared Coleman, our Emmy Award-winning director, can pull up that chart. So if I look at the FDA sort of timeline, you have a top line drug that's close to the finish line here. Talk about
Yeah.
You know, what we're talking. Where are we at with this, and how close are we to actually presenting this to market?
Yeah, I think this is a typical development of a drug. So we succeeded in getting it through a very, very good phase 2 study 3 years ago in relapsing forms of MS. And based on that, we started a big phase 3 study, or basically 2 phase 3 studies, which are currently ongoing and recruiting. And these studies here in phase 3 stage are planned to complete in 2026, so not too far from now. On top of that, and I think it's an important thing, we're testing the same molecule in progressive MS. And in progressive MS, these patients don't have relapses, they just progress with all the disadvantages of that. And we will read out a phase 2 study, which covers basically all forms of progressive MS already next April. So there's some news coming from the company 25, but also 26.
So are you optimistic about 2025 in terms of you know, where the pace of this is going for you? And I guess the second question is, what's the strategy to get it to market? Do you partner with a larger pharma firm, or do you take it to the goal line yourself?
Well, first of all, I think what makes me excited, and of course I'm optimistic, it's a great drug, and we have already generated a lot of data during development, which makes me confident about that. Regarding commercialization, of course, it's a big indication affecting hundreds of thousands of patients. And there are different ways to do that. We on the one hand, we are talking to big pharma companies. We also talk to mid-sized pharma companies in Europe, in the US.
Well, listen, I got selfishly, I want to have you back on the air with us because it's promising.
Yeah.
And to watch, you know, my mother sort of digress, but she's also 86 years old. But McKenna, 31, is living a healthy life, and what it did, it scared the crap out of her. She got in shape, she lost a bunch of weight, and I'm looking forward to other therapies to come up. Hey, listen, Dr. Vitt, come back with us on the air. Love to talk to you. Appreciate that. Immunic Therapeutics, IMUX is the stock symbol. And And imux.com is the website. More Big Biz coming up.
Wherever you're watching or listening, hope everyone's having a great day. We certainly are. As the Big Biz Show continues, Mr. Bronny Costa over here in the corner, Marybird Godwin, and of course, Sully.
I love that we have your new stew endorsement.
That's right.
Canned processed stew, Dinty Moore.
The new spokesperson for Dinty Moore.
Big Biz. Our next guest is Nastasha McKeon. She is the founder and CEO of Choice Juicery here in San Diego. The reason I want to talk about this is a story of entrepreneurship and just saying, I'm not going to sacrifice my lifestyle for what's in the grocery stores like me and, well, Mike does. And I met her a few years back and I said, we got to give you guys some exposure because this is a story about, it's a Me Too project. As you're watching, you can do this too because you're extraordinary, but still you started a business. It came in here and now it's here. And you've got 7 locations, the most scalable business ever. And it's amazing to me when you see small businesses because I always say you don't get perspective unless it's on the front of a paycheck, right?
Right.
Welcome, first of all. How did this whole thing start? When did you get this idea?
Really, it was just a dream, honestly. I've always had a passion for making healthy food taste good and showing people that you don't have to compromise your taste buds to be healthy. And so it started off with just an idea, and it kind of just took off from there.
What was the first thing you did? I mean, did you go like in the kitchen and get a blender?
So, I mean, this was already my lifestyle, right? Like I was already making this stuff at home. I was already eating this way. I was sharing my food with people, and people were loving it and wanting it. And so from there, it was more like, okay, how do I turn this into a business? And I had no idea what the heck I was doing.
See, and that's the interesting part because you're entering to a market here.
Yeah.
Where you see things like Evolution Juice and Suja.
Well, Jamba, what were the existing juiceries at the
when
time?
you came in.
Because it was kind of like a fad at one point, especially here in Southern California.
Totally.
But Jamba Juice was...
Jamba Juice turned out to be a Slurpee, by the way.
Yeah, Jamba Juice is more like a Slurpee. I would agree with that. I don't even consider that
it's fantastic, but there's more sugar than cup.
Exactly, yeah.
Agreed.
So like when you looked at the competition, what was out there?
You know, at the time, there was only really 1 or 2 places that I would have considered competition, and now they're no longer around, but one was Beaming, and the other one was O Juice. And they were the only other places that had high quality organic juice, which is something that you just don't see today.
Well, to be fair, you were not going to make juice that had anything other than juice in it. That was the thing.
And it's not just that, though. It's not just about juice with nothing else in it. People don't understand that cold-pressed juice often these days is either diluted with water or it's HPP'd or light-filtered, aka gamma-radiated.
What's HPP mean?
High-pressure pasteurization. It's a pasteurization process that basically extends the shelf life up to 45 days, and it deems the juice no longer raw. The whole point of drinking juice is to drink raw juice, the live enzymes and minerals. So all those juices you're getting really even local juiceries are doing it to their own juice nowadays, but any grocery store.
It's about shelf life. Isn't that how our food chain got messed up when we started adding high fructose corn syrup and all the other, the dextrose to keep the shelf life? For me, so I often say this. Let's say you want to start a podcast, Mike.
Yeah.
Now you're in your garage with Mike and Sully's Tequila podcast.
Yep.
Okay? And just because you put it out there doesn't mean anybody's going to see it. How did you get to the next? Because you got great juice, it's got a great product, but nobody knows it.
Yeah.
What was the next step?
You know, I identified this location, my very first location, which I think you interviewed me there, was Carlsbad Village, and I saw.
By the way, for our national audience, Carlsbad is a North County, San Diego, but it's a high traffic area.
It is very.
And the demographic is kind of varied. It doesn't have just high end and low end. It's kind of it's a large demographic.
Very true. At the time, this is 11 years ago. At the time, everyone thought I was crazy opening a juicery there, but the location had so much visibility and so much parking, which I think is so important when you're opening a new concept. You need visibility, you need walkability, you need people walking around, seeing your business. And this was literally a shipping container in the middle of Carlsbad Village. What is going to draw more attention?
I remember.
And so, we opened a juice shop inside of a shipping container on a yard in the middle of Carlsbad Village. And
when did you know?
It's a very healthy, conscious population, though, wouldn't you say?
At the time, not
part
so
of
much, but
Carlsbad
it did evolve to that. And I think Choice was a part of that evolution in Carlsbad Village, I would say.
Say one day you have a run on carrot juice. And as far as keeping the produce in the store and ordering produce and stuff like that, were you going to a supermarket or?
No, we were using small local farms and, and we had, middlemen, suppliers and things like that we were working with. I would say that's one of the toughest parts of this business model is managing your PARs well. because if you overproduce, I've got 6 pounds of organic produce in this one bottle.
Mike's at 6 pounds
If I
of-
overproduce and I've got 5 days to move this baby off the shelf.
So
if I don't
which
do that,
is
I'm in
interesting.
trouble. Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a fine feathering kind of thing here, how much you put out. And by the way, you don't have just one flavor. By the way, Ginger Bay is my favorite. Have you ever, my daughters call their boyfriends Bay.
Bay, right.
Do you know what it means?
Boyfriend, right?
No, it's
Boyfriend.
Best
above all else, or
Before anyone else.
for anyone else. That's right.
I was close.
You were very close.
Sully
And we don't
is
just do
Latin for
juice.
Bay.
We're actually most well known for our smoothies. Our protein shakes are kind of like also
I love the
very
smoothies.
addictive. Yes. And we also have food. We have a toast menu. I make my own bread. We
Wait,
have a
there's
juice
another
bread
part.
today for.
James, are you dying up there right now?
He loves juice.
Can I can I give a light in and tell for you? She has coconut bacon, which is my gang name, by the way.
That is gang me.
What's this blue juice that we're
No,
looking
no,
at?
but wait. But the coconut bacon, was that your idea?
Yeah, originally I created it I was trying to make a traditional Cobb salad healthy, so we came up with a coconut bacon Cobb, and it's one of our best-selling salads for sure. So I created the bacon for that salad, but now it's also on our Caesar, it's on a bunch of other
It's never anywhere because I buy the last packet.
Wait. How is?
Did you say bacon?
Thank you. Yeah, she had me a bacon. Will you please marry me? Is it
Get in
coconut that you're like curing like bacon, or is
So-
it physically bacon that you're?
No, it's not bacon, and that's the,
But
the
you know
thing
what?
about it.
It frickin' tastes like bacon.
It does, right?
Which is
Yes.
basically pixie dust of food. Isn't
Yes.
It? Don't cheer up, buddy.
That's amazing.
How many proprietary sort of things do you have outside of juice? Because you have other products there, and of course, we'll talk
I do actually. It's funny you say proprietary because I should probably maybe keep things as more of a trade secret. But my book, I decided to share almost all my recipes at my restaurant in my book because, this stuff it's expensive. It's expensive to produce, especially if we don't cut any corners and we don't cheat like the other guys out there. We don't add juice to our water to our juice, and we don't pasteurize our juice. So it's an expensive product, and not everybody can afford to eat there every day. And so I wanted to make it accessible to people. So I created the book so that I could share.
And what's the name of the book again?
Plant Food is Medicine.
Food is medicine.
Is there coconut bacon recipe?
Plant Food is Medicine.
Just order it
actually,
online.
I believe it is.
I'll bring you a barrel of it. It's
There you go.
please.
You
You
see
won't get home. I'm not kidding.
January, people always
Always,
wanting
yeah.
to lose the holiday
Yes.
pounds.
We're very much like the gyms. Like our slowest months of the year are November and December. And then come January 1st, we do cleanses, and we have the best cleanse on the market. So we start getting cleanse
Sign us
signups like January 1. People are like, okay, holidays are over. I'm ready to get in shape. I'm ready to get back on track. Yeah.
I have an idea.
Oh, here we go.
Let's hear it.
What did I just walk
I think
into?
Mike should do an on-air. We do a series with you.
There we go.
Mike's cleansing.
I love it.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
I'll even throw in some
We'll have
coconut bacon.
We'll have a porta-john and a wheelbarrow out. So I have to ask you real quickly, during COVID, was there an issue with supply chain? Because people got in better shape, but they also drank more.
Yeah, they did.
So that could have gone either way for you guys.
It could have, yeah, actually. The first couple of months of COVID were really rough. It was definitely a very scary time. I kept every store open and every employee on and wasn't sure what was going to happen.
You did curbside.
We did. We
yeah,
shifted real quickly to
yeah.
deliveries and curbside and just tried to navigate that the best we could. But after like 2 months in, when the world started opening up a little bit, people were just out the door, like standing in lines around the corner because everyone was afraid and wanted to take their health a little bit more seriously. So people were,
what's interesting is you had a dream to do this thing with no experience.
yeah.
And you just, so what's the takeaway? And the other thing too is, if you can do this here in Southern California, it could be in 50 states, couldn't it? Is there any desire?
It can, and I definitely do, but it's one of these models that's a little bit tricky in that unless I compromise the integrity, it's tough to grow at scale. And so what I've been trying to navigate, what does that look like as I continue to grow?
Because you have to duplicate yourself in terms of who's the quality manager at different locations, sort of?
Not necessarily, no. I would say it's more about, we have to have a commissary component always where we produce, everything, but most companies, they'd have one commissary and they ship nationally, but I can't ship a juice
Because
that
of
has
the
a
shelf
5-day
life,
life.
right?
Exactly. And
So as an entrepreneur, as people watching here across the country and in Mexico and in Europe and listening to us on American Forces Radio and such, what is the takeaway for you for people that want to start a business? Is it just, it can't just be enthusiasm and hope. I mean, it has to be something else in terms of, you got to be willing to take risk and you got to be able to kind of, jump off the cliff.
I think one thing that's common in most of the entrepreneurs that I've met is we're all a little bit crazy. You know, it's like you don't know what you're getting into, and you're like, yes, I have this idea. My team says all the time, you're so crazy, but things wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that craziness. Like, you have this idea, you don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to start it anyways. You jump and you figure out the wings on the way down. And so
Figure
I would
out
say
the wings on the way down.
I don't know
Love
how
that.
exactly.
Ready, shoot, aim.
Yes, yes.
So what does 2025 look for you? What are you most looking for?
I'm mostly looking forward to expanding our online offerings. I think that's one area that I can really help support the business, is continuing to ship things that we can ship. So we're shipping our bread nationally now. We have the best gluten-free bread on the market.
Is that your recipe?
It is, of course. Everything's my recipe. They're all my babies. And we're also shipping. We have a line of elixirs, nut butters, all kinds of fun things. Coconut bacon. We're shipping a lot of that stuff online
God,
now.
you're like weeping, Mike. Can you make a Funyuns product for Mike?
I will work on that. So I'll get right back to the test.
Onions and vegetables.
Nastasha McKeon is our guest. Thank you so much for coming. And once again,
This is awesome.
James, which ones do you want?
J-Mo. Yes, please. Yeah, you want the beat one? He's a big
Or you want beet? I'll go.
No, I split them
I
up
think he
too.
said all.
All right. Big Biz Show continues. BigBizShow.com.
Ginger Bay. Oh, beet chia. I want them both.
Hey, Mike, what's in your lunchbox? About it.
From the Loft 100 studios in beautiful, sunny Southern California. The Big Biz Show, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Thanks for being along for the ride. I am Costa, sitting here in my resplendent brawny paper towel costume.
Did you get
Barry Godwin, Greg Todorov, and Sully.
Did you get an endorsement deal for Dinty Moore Stew?
Want a Stewski? Nailed it.
125 million TV homes every night. Also, of course, Bloomberg El Financiero. Lave sus manos. And Bloomberg EU.
Lave.
We get paid for doing this. One of the best things that comes of this show is when Greg gets a phone call from a shareholder of a public company that they want us to interview. Brandon Robinson is the CEO and a founder of a company called Horizon Aircraft. You saw it on the screen. Mike's first comment was, "I want one."
Yes.
Their stock symbol is HOVR. It's horizonaircraft.com. And we're going to start following this company. Brandon, thanks for coming on, bud. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thanks, Sully. Great to be on the show.
Okay, so listen, you are, first of all, I've gotten to know Brandon, and we're the same, kind of the same cloth. His brand is this. Hey, his wife says, "Hey, Brandon, does this dress make you look fat?" No, your face does. He's a very straightforward, honest guy, because you're a pilot. He asked me, "Were you in the military?" No, I got kicked out. Talk to me about your background and how you got into this.
Yeah, so I mean, I was fortunate enough to join the military academy up here in Canada. It's like West Point, but we only have one, tri-service, so Air Force, Navy, and Army all in one. And I was lucky enough to make it through engineering and got streamed right into the pilot program. So from a young age, I was streamed right into fighter jets. So I managed to complete the Canadian version of Top Gun and have a great sort of military career flying jets and hair on fire pretty much most of the time. It was great.
I love the fact that Brandon asked me if I was in the military is because Brandon is Latin for badass. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
So Brandon, talk about the company, because you have a new type of aircraft that you're building. And this is, the addressable market on this is insane. Bring us from the beginning for the people that haven't seen you before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you take nothing more away from this, I mean, essentially we're building an aircraft that can take off and land like a helicopter. So vertically, any sort of helipad, any sort of parking lot or flat surface, but then fly like a normal aircraft en route. So think twice as fast as a helicopter, about a quarter of the cost per unit mile to operate. So a cheaper, faster helicopter. I think that I don't really have to go much further than that. Huge total addressable market. A lot of different companies building these types of machines, but we have a pretty unique concept in this space.
What's the tiebreaker? What makes you bigger, better, faster, stronger? What's the differentiator?
So back up 4 years, a lot of companies were coming out with concepts that were all electric. And when we did the math, carrying around 2,000 or 2,500 pounds of lithium-ion batteries didn't make a whole lot of sense for a flying machine. Don't get me wrong, we're pretty excited about that future. But we went to hybrid electric. So that's the first differentiator. So we have gas on board, which is still about 30 times as energy dense as the best batteries. And then we have a unique concept where en route, the aircraft can change its configuration and fly in a really efficient, fast, sort of low drag configuration. So it flies for 98% of the mission, just like a normal aircraft on wing-borne flight. So think faster, cheaper, further than most of the competition. So great for, you see the missions there. So medical evacuation, you imagine getting folks to the hospital in half the time, or from twice the distance in that golden hour. Responding to disasters. It's hybrid electric, so it's capable of operating off the grid. So when you land at some off-site location, you don't have to find the world's longest extension cord. You can just recharge itself, and same thing en route. It recharges its small battery array for approaching the landing phase. So just a tougher, faster, more practical machine than some of the competition was putting together.
Brandon Robinson, the founder and CEO, parentheses, badass of Horizon Aircraft. Their Nasdaq symbol is HOVR. Brandon, will this eventually have somewhat, maybe a private application?
Does this feel like the beginning of the George Jetson? Like when people go
Totally.
to work and they get
I was just thinking that.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and the great thing is the technology works. I mean, we're flying a large-scale demonstrator right now, and we're building a full-scale aircraft currently. The U.S. Air Force has been quite interested. We have some defense prime contractors that are interested. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question on the private side, absolutely. I mean, if you want to fly around and again, a cheaper, faster helicopter that looks kind of like the Batwing. Batman called and he wanted one as well. He has to get in line like everyone else. But yeah, honestly, we've had a huge amount of interest, and it's tough keeping track of it all. But the cool thing is it looks great, but it actually works even better than it looks.
Amazing.
Yeah, the interesting part is you entered into a space. I always think, like, who enters into like the tennis shoe space? Or I'm going to make sunglasses. You entered into the aircraft space. That was a daunting decision when you walked in there. And I'm assuming when you walked into the aircraft space, it's because it was such a huge differentiator. I mean, you found a need and you filled it, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, it's very competitive, but you guys really have a slot here, don't you?
Yeah, so that's a great observation. And we identified that growing market gap. So again, everyone was all electric. When we did the math, their ranges would be limited to 50 to 100 miles max, and they would be going very slow. They'd be carrying a lot of batteries, so not as much useful stuff. And there was this giant gap that was quite apparent to us. I think we come from a more operational space. It's a bunch of pilots and operators first, and also a bunch of really talented aerospace engineers. But there's a real sort of operational thread through the company. So we want to create a practical machine, and we saw a lot of the other companies were coming up with machines that would have limitations in the real world.
Hey, Mary, you hear about all those fighter pilots? They got those white V-neck T-shirts. That are, you need to go to their board meeting. I think you should go to Sherwood.
I'll be there.
I think it would benefit. Hey, I got to ask about the fact that there's a disconnect between the real value of your company and what's happening with what's going on in the market. Now, we rarely talk about share price and numbers, but this is really an interesting case of maybe just putting eyeballs on this thing, because your valuation, your real valuation, is much higher than your market cap at this point. You have any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, so we were a de-SPAC. We did it in the light of day, if that makes sense, when we knew it was going to happen. But yeah, once I think we're clear of sort of all the institutional shenanigans that go on, and we're starting to rebuild retail following, and people are seeing that there's a huge potential. I mean, we're 1/500th of the market cap of some of the competitors, so tons of upside. Again, we're not really focused on that. We're focused on delivering value for the shareholders, respecting them, not doing the deals that would dilute them overly as much as some other companies would. High quality, strategic backers, and just laser focused on a product that is going to just kick some butt in the.
It's the coolest tool on the planet. Well, I'm going to follow this thing. You're coming back on the air.
Oh my gosh!
Yep. By the way, from now on, you guys are calling me Mav. Okay. Not Goose. Brandon, thanks, buddy. Brandon Robinson, founder and CEO of Horizon Aircraft. HOVR, HorizonAircraft.com. Yeah,
Look at that thing.
I got
so
swept.
amazing.
I got swept right into the fighter pilot program.
Good God.
This thing is.
Honey, I'm going to work. See you a little bit.
Gary, is there an attraction if I've got a jet in my driveway?
That's pretty hot.
Okay, Trampy Tramperton. Great to see you. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. Coming up, the story of entrepreneurship and my very organic diet, my compliance to a healthy lifestyle. Stand by. Hey, pass the funniest, Mike.